So I wanted to talk about our new publication that just came out, and a few other items that are related, and the idea of kind of connecting this to Casca's efforts and other efforts in the area, and making sure that we're kind of integrating. So first off, I just want to give you a little brief on who AMWUA is, if you don't already know. Nope, there we go. The Arizona Municipal Water Users Association is a nonprofit organization for 10 major municipalities in the Phoenix metropolitan area that work together to ensure their ability to provide reliable water supplies to about 3.7 million people and businesses in the state. Those 10 municipalities are on the screen here. And they use there's about 51% of the population are inside of those 10 cities, but they only use 11% of the state's water. So it's kind of an interesting piece there. And AMWUA has worked with its members for more than 50 years on collaborating on water resources policy, legislation, education, and outreach, including water conservation and efficiency, which is where I sit in the organization. So to go on and just touch on a few other resources that I think are important to kind of connect with the plant book is AMWUA's website. It's a really great resource. It connects our member conservation offices, shows you where demonstration gardens are for native plants and how to assemble that stuff for your own yard. It provides information on upcoming workshops and events in our 10 cities. Also connects folks to rebates and incentives, which are ever increasing as of late. And a lot of that stuff is centered around outdoor water use, connecting again to plants and water. We have a water use calculator that'll help you understand give yourself a water budget on your size of your family and your home. We have monthly watering information that you can access to understand what how and when you should be watering your stuff. And then we have web-based versions of some of the publications that I'm going to talk about here as well. And if we have some time, we can go back to the website and tool around it a little bit. I did want to give a shout out to Smartscape. I'm not sure how many folks know about this. It's been around for 30 years. It's an educational program and training tool for emerging landscape and green industry professionals. There really isn't an entry into landscape contracting. You don't need a license to be a landscaper. You don't need to have formal education to do that. So folks can get into it and do a really bad job, or you can get folks trained and do the sustainable, more appropriate thing. So this program has been around for 30 years, formed in the 90s, and it was to identify and promote through education consistent horticultural practices within Arizona's green industry that are compatible with the Sonoran Desert, and to encourage the efficient use of all resources, including water. And so point here, it's a great resource to get folks on board sustainable landscaping early. It's often considered an early adopter program, fostering that culture of sustainable landscaping and outdoor water use efficiencies. And it helps kind of establish that lifelong learning that we want, and professional development, which leads to gives it an on-ramp for other regional professional certifications, like the Desert Landscaping School here, the Arizona Certified Landscape Professionals Training. There's the ISA's arborist training. So there's a whole bunch of things that you can go on to have professional certs in, but this is like that kickoff program that we think is really important to talk about. And so another resource I think is wildly important is ADWR has a regulatory plant list. If you don't know that we have a regulatory plant list, you should know that. It's been around and it follows each one of the management plans as those come on board. AMWUA has been facilitating the Landscape Technical Advisory Committee for a number of years, and over this last iteration, they went through a full review of the fourth management plan plant list to give recommendations to the department on plant removals, additions, and some changes that we'd like to see. And so that was done in September. Let's see here. So the committee reviewed all the plants on the list, making recommendations to remove or keep things, as well as category changes, common name changes, and botanical name changes. And although the department held off on addressing common and botanical names at this time, they did agree with the LTAC's recommendations to remove 51 plants, as well as 36 genus species designations that were considered no longer appropriate for public rights-of-way. And so this is also available online now. The fifth management plan goes live in January, but the list is up at that link right there on the screen. Okay. And then just really quickly, these are kind of the big four publications that AMWUA has been a part of over the years. On the left, you have the brand new plants book that was just updated in 2024. The second one here is the Xeriscape Landscaping with Style Guide that provides kind of a how-to in terms of designing your yard, mainly built for homeowners, and a helpful guide, get you educated on how to go about doing design. That's scheduled for an update this year. We're working on that right now. Water Use It Wisely is working on landscape watering by the numbers, which is the irrigation component of this group of publications. And I think they're planning on doing that in 2025 as well. Now, Leanne, if you know whether that, okay. And then the last one is AMWUA's Smart Home Water Guide, which helps with leak detections and making sure that you're not wasting water inside and outside of your home. And that was done in 2020. No real plans for updating that anytime soon. All right, so on to the plants book itself. So the plants book's been around for a while. I don't know if you've heard it called the Pink Book. It's been called the Pink Book for a long time. It's gone through a few iterations, and there was it was identified as a redesign. There were some problems with the software program of the old version that couldn't be renewed, so I had to get rebuilt. A lot of the photos were dated, and we needed new ones, and the plant list needed to be updated as well. And then basically just bringing it into 2024. I think it was last done in the early 10s, so it needed an update. And so that's the cover of it. It's an awesome photo that Dave Siebert had taken for us. So just a few things about the book itself. It includes new photos. There are section headers now between trees and shrubs and vines. It's better organized plant info. So now it's 4 plants per page with their photos and all of the individual plant information on each sheet. It's a better use of graphics to help guide the reader in terms of kind of directing you wayfinding within the document itself. There's an updated table of contents and index. And the index has both botanical and common names referenced in there, so you can do it either way. And then we've added plants with a purpose icon. So there are these 4 areas of kind of special features, plants that are really, a lot of folks are interested in these elements of it. So native, pool friendly, whether or not they attract wildlife, and whether or not they're rabbit resistant. I think rabbits will eat everything or anything if they're hungry enough, but these are ones that are less likely to eat. And then there were a series of pro tips in there as well. So little kind of dialogue boxes of graphic breakouts, if you will, on plant selection and location, pruning, native seeding, and then as well as watering in extreme weather that we're facing more often. And then just kind of to round it out here, there are 218 plants in that book now. 12 were removed from the previous edition, 6 were added. We've extended or expanded the perennials and annual section. Before, they were just kind of a list of those plants and a little bit of information. Now they have a full run of information like all the other plants do. But we've updated botanical and common names to more reflect the region and the appropriate botanicals. And then we've updated plant information throughout. Just a few things are whether or not it's native. And the way we're defining it is native to the 3 deserts in the arid Southwest. And so that's opened up a can of worms in terms of how we interpreted that, but that's what we ended up with. So if you're really plant nerd and like I am, there were some challenges there, but that was an easy way to kind of get it in terms of what's appropriate for here. We updated plants that we saw as being allergenic or had some poisonous elements to them, whether or not they had a lot of litter, thorns, things like that. And then wildlife and pollinator attributes, that was a big emphasis. We want to make sure that folks that are seeking those types of plants have good information available to them, including nocturnal pollinators, bats, moths. And so that was a nice add this time around as well. And then to basically sum it all up, this is what's really important. So as that LTAC review was occurring in terms of the regulatory plant list for the Phoenix AMA, we made sure that the plant book, all of the plants that are in here are also in that regulatory list. So while anybody can plant anything in your private property, we wanted to make sure that all the plants that are on the plant list in the public rights of way, these were on that as well. And that's where I'll end it there. If you are interested in being a part of the LTAC moving forward, please let me know. We always need folks to join in that. And if you are looking for more copies of the book, you can talk to your city conservation office, or you can reach out to me. Thanks.